I stand in the center of my living room, the soft glow of fairy lights tracing golden threads across the exposed brick walls I spent weeks restoring, brick by painstaking brick. The air hums with laughter, the clink of glasses, the warmth of a celebration I've earned. Vintage, wallpaper, scraps, salvaged from a flea market and stitched into a banner. Catch the light above the mantel. Happy birthday, Soleil. 30 years old today, and this space, my space, feels like a crown I've forged from sweat and dreams. The hardwood floors gleam underfoot, each plank sanded by my hands, stained a deep walnut that still lingers faintly in the air. Friends and family mill about, their voices weaving a tapestry of joy. Ethan, my brother, all sharp edges and quiet strength at 32, leans against the restored crown molding, his dark eyes scanning the room. He'd whistled when he first saw it finished, a rare crack in his stoic armor, and I'd felt a flicker of pride I hadn't known I needed. James and Evelyn, my parents, hover near the kitchen island, their silver hair catching the light, their smiles practiced but warm. 58 and 56, they carry the weight of years I have only begun to understand. The cake sits untouched on the counter, its unlit candle a silent promise. I smooth my dress, a simple black shift that feels like armor tonight, and breathe in the moment. 4 years of backbreaking work transformed this crumbling shell into my dream home. Every nail, every brushstroke, a piece of me. I'm about to call for a toast when a sharp knock slices through the chatter, precise as a blade. The room stills. I cross to the door, my heels clicking against the floor I'd refinished until my fingers bled. An attendant stands there, his crisp uniform starched to rigidity, a silver envelope gleaming in his gloved hands. "Miss Malone?" His voice is clipped, professional, a stranger's intrusion into my world. "This requires your immediate attention." My pulse quickens as I take it, the paper heavy, expensive, the bow delicate under my trembling fingers. I untie it, the ribbon whispering against my skin, and unfold the document inside. The bold letterhead hits like a fist. Notice to vacate. 21 days. They're giving me 21 days to leave my home. The room spins, fairy lights blurring into streaks of gold. I look up, every eye locked on me. Ethan's champagne glass frozen midair. James and Evelyn exchanging glances I can't read, don't want to read. The silence spreads like poison, thick and choking. "What is this?" My voice comes out strangled, a jagged thing I barely recognize. Harper steps forward, her designer heels clicking against my floors, her 28-year-old poise as cold as the silk of her voice. "Now, Soleil, let's discuss this rationally." She adjusts her sleek blonde hair, a predator in couture. "The market's incredibly hot right now. It'd be foolish not to capitalize on such an opportunity." Capitalize? The word tastes bitter, ash on my tongue. This is my home. I've put 4 years of my life into this place. "The apartment remains in James and Evelyn's names," Harper continues, her tone smooth, patronizing, like she's explaining colors to a child. "The financial potential is too significant to ignore." Memories crash through me. Harper's knowing smirks at Thanksgiving, Ethan's awkward pauses, Evelyn's evasions when I pressed about the deed. I turn to my parents, my voice cracking. "You knew! You've known this was coming." Evelyn wrings her hands, her eyes darting to the floor. James clears his throat, his baritone steady. "It's just business, honey. Nothing personal." Nothing personal. The receipts stacked in my office upstairs, the permits I fought for, the thousands of hours shaping this space. Nothing personal. My hands clench, crumpling the notice. Tears burn behind my eyes, but I won't let them fall. Not here, not in front of them. I retreat, my steps heavy as I climb to my study, my sanctuary. Blueprints plaster the walls, sketches of every beam and corner I've rebuilt. The city lights twinkle beyond the window, indifferent, unchanging. What do I do next? The question hangs like smoke, choking but clarifying. Because deep down, I know. This isn't just about an apartment anymore. It's about betrayal, about family bonds twisted into knives. And I'm done being their prey. The study door clicks shut behind me, sealing out the murmur of the party below. My desk lamp casts a soft glow across the chaos I've spread. Permits, contractor agreements, material receipts. 4 years of dreams crystallized in paper and ink. The city hums beyond the glass, a distant pulse against the storm in my chest. I run my fingers along the edge of my grandmother's silver locket, its familiar weight a lifeline as I sit, the chair creaking under me. Harper's voice echoes in my skull. The financial potential is too significant, and I grab the latest building permit, its edges crisp. Something's off. The signature doesn't match the others, a subtle slant I'd never noticed. I pull my phone, swipe to a photo of the original document. My stomach lurches. The dates are wrong, backdated 3 months, but I filed this 6 weeks ago. No, 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 I mutter, diving into the stack. More inconsistencies surface like cracks in ice. Notary stamps with mismatched dates, permit applications with altered clauses, contract drafts that shouldn't exist. Each discovery lands like a blow, forming a pattern I can't unsee. Harper hasn't just planned this eviction, she's orchestrated it for months, manipulating documents, forging my work. Her perfectly manicured fingerprints smear every lie. A soft knock jolts me. Ethan stands in the doorway, his tall frame casting a long shadow across my blueprints. At 32, he's always been the steady one, but tonight his face is drawn, guilty, his dark hair disheveled. Can we talk? His voice cracks, a fracture in his usual calm. I gesture to the chair across my desk, my throat too tight to speak. He sits, eyes fixed on his hands. I should have told you sooner, he begins, words tumbling out. At Mom and Dad's anniversary party last month, I overheard something. My heart pounds as he describes it. Harper and Grayson Holt, 40, CEO of Pinnacle Real Estate, tucked in Dad's study. Their voices slipped through the cracked door. Harper's smooth confidence, Grayson's calculated interest. She was laying out the plan, Ethan says, running a hand through his hair. Market values, profit margins, a quick sale. She made it sound so clinical, like she wasn't destroying your home. And you said nothing? My voice shakes, anger flaring. I convinced myself it wasn't real, he whispers. That Harper was just dreaming big, like always. But then I saw her with Mom and Dad, planting doubts, playing on their fears about the market. I turn to my evidence, seeing it anew. Email threads pile up on my laptop. Harper to Grayson, each one crafted to exploit our family. To James, she dangled market volatility. To Evelyn, retirement security, preying on her lifelong worries. 3 months of systematic betrayal, time-stamped in black and white. Look at this, I say, pulling up a chain. She's been feeding Grayson our finances for weeks. Guest lists, renovation budgets, Mom and Dad's plans. Ethan's face pales. She's not just selling the apartment, I say, my voice steel now. She's selling us out. I grip the locket tighter, its edges biting into my palm. Harper thinks I'll break quietly, vanish with dignity. She's about to learn how wrong she is. Every email, every forged permit, every suspicious glance, I've documented it all. Her treachery ends here. The Sterling Plaza Hotel's Rosewood Banquet Hall shimmers under crystal chandeliers, their prisms dancing across silk dresses and tailored suits like scattered promises. I weave through the crowd, my heels sinking into the thick carpet, each step measured, deliberate. Tonight's engagement party, Harper and Grayson's crowning glory, feels like a stage set for their triumph, but I'm here to rewrite the script. My reflection flickers in a gilded mirror, structured black blazer, hair swept into an elegant chignon, grandmother's silver locket gleaming at my throat. At 30, I'm no longer the naive dreamer they betrayed. I slip away from the glittering throng, the murmur of polite laughter fading as I enter a private lounge. The leather chair creaks as I sink into it, my laptop humming to life under my steady hands. Harper's corporate account archives load, a digital vault of her lies. My breath catches as I open a series of emails. Timestamps, misaligned, permit numbers sequential when they should be random. Every falsified document is a knife in my back, but also a weapon in my arsenal. Got you, I whisper, my voice a thread of steel in the quiet. A notification pings. Harper's live stream from the main hall. I slip in earbuds, her honeyed voice oozing through. Of course, we're deeply concerned about the integrity of the renovations. Community safety comes first. My fingers curl into fists. My permits are spotless. I spent months perfecting them. But there, on her feed, doctored inspection reports cast shadows on my work, leaked with surgical precision. Then, a recording stops my heart. Harper's crisp tone. The property values are about to skyrocket, Grayson. Once we force the sale, the returns will be astronomical. Grayson chuckles. Your cousin won't know what hit her. I signal Lily with 3 quick taps on my phone. Showtime. The projector screen descends silently behind Harper, mid-speech, her charm dripping like venom. Grayson and I are so blessed to have such wonderful family and friends, she says, oblivious. My original permits flash onto the screen, dated and notarized, followed by her forged versions, stark, damning differences. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Harper's champagne glass trembles, catching the light like a warning flare. I think, I say, stepping onto the stage, my voice cutting through the hush, we should discuss the real estate deal you've been orchestrating. Each heel click punctuates my words. Specifically, how you forged documents to steal my home. Harper's lips part, shock fracturing her poise. Soleil, this is hardly the time, she stammers. Actually, it's exactly the time, I counter, playing the recording. Her voice fills the hall, cold and clear, plotting my ruin. Investors shift, silk rustling. Margaret Lynn, 62, leans forward, her sharp eyes narrowing. 2 developers exchange worried glances. The truth spreads, unstoppable, like wine across white carpet. This is absurd! Harper sputters, her composure cracking. Soleil's unstable, jealous of my success, my relationship with Grayson. I gesture to the screen, evidence scrolling relentlessly. The documents speak for themselves. Ethan rises, tablet in hand, his voice steady. I can verify these. I have the original emails right here. Harper's mask slips, just for a second, revealing the panic beneath. She's losing them, and she knows it. Crestwood Manor's dining room reeks of old money. Crystal stemware glints under the chandelier. White tablecloths gleam pristine against the dark hardwood. I sit across from Harper, her practiced smile a thin veneer over the tension coiling beneath. The main course arrives, steaming plates of roast lamb, but I wait, my fork untouched. At 30, I've learned timing is everything. Ethan, 32, sits to my left, his jaw tight. James and Evelyn, my parents, chat lightly with Uncle Richard, 60, and Aunt Clara, 57, their voices a hollow hum. I stand, my chair scraping the floor, the sound sharp enough to silence the room. I have something to share, I say, my voice carrying, steady despite the pounding in my chest. Harper's fork pauses halfway to her lips, her 28-year-old elegance faltering. I have copies of every email you've sent about my property, I continue, including the ones where you discuss falsifying inspection reports with Grayson. The silence is absolute, a held breath. Harper's knuckles whiten around her fork, her smile frozen. M. Soleil, darling, you're making a scene, she says, her tone icy. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. Like, you discussed my eviction privately? I pull out my phone, clicking play. Her voice spills out. The property values are about to skyrocket. Her face drains of color, the mask slipping fully now. That's enough! She snaps, her voice a whip crack. You're clearly unstable. No, Ethan says, standing behind me, his napkin crumpled in his fist. She's not unstable. I heard you, Harper, in your office with Grayson. I heard everything. His 32 years of silence break open, guilt giving way to resolve. Lily rises next, 29 and fierce, her eyes blazing. I have copies of the original permits, every inspection report, she says. Would you like me to show everyone the difference between Soleil's work and your creative edits? The room shifts, a current of whispers, the rustle of napkins as Richard leans forward, his gruff voice cutting through. This manipulation ends now. Clara, usually reserved, nods, her soft tone firm. We should have seen it sooner. Harper's gaze darts, allies peeling away like paint from a cracked wall. I feel it in my bones, the moment truth outweighs lies. Later in my study, I spread the evidence under the desk lamp's glow, blueprints, emails, recordings. Daniel Pierce's business card sits on the desk, its crisp white a promise of justice at 45. Harper thinks she can still spin this, but she's underestimating me, underestimating us. The locket warms against my palm as I breathe, steadying myself for the next move. The town hall buzzes with raw energy, metal folding chairs creak under residents, reporters clutch notepads, camera phones point like accusing fingers. I connect my laptop to the projector with a soft click, the blank screen behind me a canvas for truth. At 30, I've faced worse than this crowd, but my heart thunders as I adjust my blazer. Harper sits in the third row, her designer suit stark against the utilitarian space, her 28-year-old confidence fraying. Grayson, 40, beside her, shifts, his smooth facade cracking. Thank you all for coming, I say, my voice steady carrying across the room. I'm here to share information about the Highland Avenue development deal. I pull up the first document, my original permits, then the recording. The screen flickers, goes black. Murmurs ripple, a cough echoes. Sweat trickles down my spine as I click frantically, willing it back. Technical difficulties? Harper's voice drips with fake sympathy. Perhaps we should move on. I straighten, meeting her gaze. We're going to see this through, every last second of it. The screen flares to life, Harper's voice spilling out. Once we force the sale, the profits will be astronomical. The room stills, her smugness evaporating. Rachel Evans, 38, types furiously in the front row, her journalist's instincts alight. Thomas Wade, 50, the community board president, leans forward, his nod subtle but firm. The truth doesn't need perfect timing, I say, clicking through emails, forged permits, Grayson's name in every thread. It just needs to be heard. Harper's hands clench, her rebuttal lost in the crowd's shifting tide. Allies gather, Rachel's pen, Thomas's quiet authority, and I feel the ground firm beneath me. Harper's web is unraveling, thread by thread, and I'm just getting started. The Hudson Convention Center's marble floors gleam under harsh fluorescent lights, reflecting a restless crowd buzzing with uncertainty. I grip the podium's polished wood, my knuckles white against the grain, the weight of 30 years steadying me as I face them. Faces I have known my whole life, now twisted with doubt. Harper stands at the back, her designer heels planted firmly, a megaphone raised like a weapon at 28. My legal team from Harrison and Yale will be filing immediate action, she announces, her voice amplified, distorted. Anyone supporting Soleil's fraudulent claims will face severe consequences. My tablet chimes, notifications flooding the screen, doctored images, altered receipts, fabricated permits painting my 4 years of work as a lie. Harper's PR team moves fast, their smears spreading across social media like wildfire. She gestures to a screen behind her, manipulated video clips looping, renovation updates twisted to fit her narrative. The evidence clearly shows systematic fraud, she declares, her tone echoing with false conviction. Years of financial mismanagement and permit violations. Whispers ripple, doubt creeping in. But I work faster. Speaking of fraud, I say into the microphone, my voice cutting through the din, steady despite the thunder in my chest. Let's talk about evidence. I tap my tablet, and the massive display flickers to life. An email from Harper to Grayson appears, timestamp clear. Once we force the sale, the profit margins will be astronomical. Soleil's too naive to fight back. Murmurs swell, Harper's megaphone wavering. I swipe again. My original permit. Then her forged version. Signatures identical. Pixel for pixel. Forgery software leaves traces, cousin, I say, my gaze locking on hers. The crowd shifts closer, a journalist's laptop glowing in the front row as Rachel Evans, 38, types furiously. Ethan catches my eye from the audience, 32 and resolute, nodding faintly. Investors lean forward, their faces hardening as I methodically unveil the truth. Emails, contracts, every lie Harper spun. This is absurd, she snaps, her voice cracking. Those documents are clearly... I cut her off, pulling my grandmother's locket from beneath my blazer, clicking it open to reveal a tiny USB drive. Time-stamped and notarized, I finish, plugging it in. Harper's voice fills the room from the recording. Once we get rid of her, the property's ours. The megaphone slips from her fingers, clattering against marble, the sound echoing through the stunned silence. I reach into my pocket, withdrawing Daniel Pierce's business card, its crisp white stark against my sleeve. At 45, his reputation for fraud cases is my ace. I hold it up, letting it fall face up on the podium, a declaration of war in letterhead. The formal lawsuit will be filed today, I announce. Anyone involved has 24 hours to come forward voluntarily. The power shifts, a tangible current. Grayson, 40, steps away from Harper, his phone already at his ear, his smooth voice clipped. Withdraw immediately, reputation risk, can't be associated. Uncle Richard, 60, rises, his gruff voice booming. This manipulation ends now. Aunt Clara, 57, adds her quiet denouncement. We should have stopped her sooner. Harper's world crumbles. Her PR team hesitates. Investors pull out phones. Family members cluster in urgent debate. I keep my eyes on her, watching the void widen around her, her face drained of color as her allies scatter. She's alone now, and I've only begun. Morning light streams through my living room's expansive windows, casting long shadows across the restored hardwood floors, each plank a story of reclamation. I pause in the center, my fingers trailing the smooth grain I sanded and stained over countless weekends. The scent of walnut, still a faint memory. The soft glow catches the brass handles of my grandmother's antique sideboard, now proudly displayed against the exposed brick wall I rebuilt, brick by brick. My reflection fragments in its polished surface. A woman transformed at 30, standing taller, eyes bright with hard-won wisdom. I adjust a framed photo on the wall, a snapshot from that night at the Hudson Convention Center. Harper's engagement party turned reckoning. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across shocked faces as I stood at the podium, evidence in hand. The memory stings, but the pain has softened into strength. Ethan appears in the doorway, 32 and quieter now, holding out a steaming mug. Coffee's ready, he says, his voice a gentle tether to the present. I take it, the rich aroma grounding me, and he nods at the photo. Sometimes I still can't believe how it played out. Neither can I reply, my tone soft but firm. But every step led us here. The doorbell chimes, and I open it to my guests, those who stood by me when the world tilted. Lily, 29, sweeps in first, her embrace fierce as ever. Jordan, 31, follows, his shoulders tight with the weight of his own betrayal at work, a mirror to my past. Others filter in, friends, family like Richard and Clara, allies who chose truth over Harper's lies. We gather in the dining area, laughter and honest conversation replacing the hollow pleasantries of before. Soft jazz spins from the vintage record player, another restoration project that paid off in ways I hadn't expected. The music mingles with clinking glasses, weaving a symphony of healing. I find Jordan by the window, his gaze distant. "How are you holding up?" I ask, recognizing the shadow of betrayal in his eyes. "Some days are harder than others," he admits, his fingers tapping nervously against his glass. "The legal team says we have a strong case, but you're worried about the cost," I finish, nodding. "The sleepless nights, the second-guessing." He meets my eyes, a silent understanding passing between us. My phone buzzes, a new email catching my attention amid the warmth. A whistleblower, anonymous, with a subject line that stops my breath. Harper's scheme, just the tip of the iceberg. I stare at it, the room's joy fading into the background. This isn't over, not yet. The locket warms against my chest, a reminder of what I've fought for, what I'll keep fighting for. The convention center lies hushed now, its lights dimming as the last echoes of chaos fade. I stand alone, my heels silent on the marble, my hands moving mechanically as I gather evidence files, permits, receipts, recordings, each a piece of my life I've defended with sheer will. At 30, I've turned betrayal into triumph, but the quiet feels heavy, pregnant with meaning. I settle into a corner chair, the cold metal grounding me, and let the magnitude sink in. My reflection in the darkened window shows someone changed. Harder, perhaps, but unbroken. A new email glows on my tablet, the whistleblower's words searing into my thoughts. Harper's scheme, just the tip of the iceberg. My mind races, tracing the threads. Grayson's empire, shell companies, a network of real estate fraud stretching across the city like a spider's web. This isn't just about my apartment anymore. It's bigger, darker, a corruption that could shake the market to its core. I close the tablet, my fingers lingering on its edge, resolve hardening in my chest. The city lights pulse beyond the glass, a challenge I can't ignore. Harper thought she'd break me. Grayson thought he'd outmaneuver me, but they underestimated the woman I've become. Brilliant, fierce, unstoppable. The locket rests warm against my skin, its weight a promise to my grandmother, to myself. Some battles end with victory, others birth new wars. And this, quiet, isn't an ending. It's a prelude. I stand, my blazer crisp against my frame, and tuck the tablet under my arm. The whistleblower's hint burns, a spark waiting to ignite. "Some say revenge is best served cold," I murmur, my voice steady in the stillness. But I've learned it's best served with irrefutable evidence and perfect timing. The words hang like a vow, the city's hum answering back. I step toward the exit, the click of my heels a drumbeat, ready for what's next.